why is this actually somewhat interesting? Is it good now? No. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm talking crazy over here. Right? What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Fear of the Walking Dead Season 5, Episode 1, Here to Help. So I decided to just go ahead and tear the band-aid off, jump right into Season 5 after I finished Season 4. Probably should have taken a break, because, not gonna lie, there were several things that happened in this episode I feel like would have had more impact if I was not still reeling from the stupidity of last season. Because this one was not bad in its setup. I will say the amount of story beats that they throw at you right away, it is a lot. And there are several different moving pieces that I feel like could have been paced a little bit better, more like throughout the season, instead of just jumping headfirst into this whole setup from Logan and his whole plan to get them all out of the building that he apparently partially owns, or can't remember the building or just the trucks or whatever. But that whole thing, you've got the plane crash, you've got these kids that are here, you got the story that Al's talking about. There's so much, and it's just the first episode. So I can't say it's bad because I don't really know where these stories are going yet, and there is a little bit of mystery surrounding whatever Al has discovered here. But just because there's a potential for an interesting story does not instantly make it an interesting story. But to be honest, there was not anything inherently stupid in this episode. There is the potential for stupidity if Alicia's story is basically going to be going back on everything we went through at the end of last season, where Morgan's trying to get everybody to get in this mindset of helping people. And I realize if you've been doing this for a while, which they seem to have been, and they keep encountering all these people that they thought they were helping, but it turns out they're dead, I could see that maybe getting under her skin a bit. And then this is almost kind of the tipping point where they go to help this guy who just tricked them to take all the stuff that they had. So I can understand her frustration, but if they're going to essentially go back on everything she learned, and that's going to be her story for this season, is rediscovering that desire to help people. I mean, I've said this before from last season, but you can't just take away a character's development and then have them develop that story again and expect me to not call you out for how lazy that is. That's the easiest way to do character development. So we'll see what happens there. These kids, not that interesting, if I'm being honest. They might get more interesting as we go along, but for the moment, it just seems weird that all of these kids have survived. They might not have been on their own for that long. Seemingly, they have survived on their own for quite a bit, and they feel like they don't have to rely on anyone. And if they've done that since the beginning of the apocalypse to now, I'm going to call bullshit on that because there's no way 3 kids who, when this all started, were probably like 10, and the little one was probably like, 4 or 5. So I'm assuming they probably had parents that were with them until maybe, I don't know, a few months ago, if I had to guess. They'll probably talk about it at some point, but it still just feels weird. These 3 kids are out there with a van and just making it fine, seemingly not having any trouble. But the one thing that they're bringing back that it gets me a little excited, and that worries me because when Morgan came in last season, I was excited for that. And then obviously, if you watch my reviews from last season, you know how I felt about it in the end. But they're bringing Daniel back. I like that. I think it's a good decision. I don't know where he was all of last season, and nobody really talked about him, but he's a good character. I mean, I'm not saying he is a good as in morally good character, but he's interesting. He's a character that I had a lot of fun watching in the first couple of seasons because he actually had some real depth to his character. Where all these people were being shallow and petty and awful just because they're selfish, Daniel, he had a lot more going on. And even though he was like a murderous psychopath at one point, it was interesting to watch him try to wrestle with that side of himself and not give in to the monster inside. Kind of similar to why Morgan was such a good character. So if the two of them meet, I feel like that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. But like I said, I'm a little worried that that's kind of giving me some hope that the season will be good, because in the end, even if they do reintroduce a good character like Daniel, it probably won't be enough for me to enjoy this season as a whole, because the writing is probably going to be bad throughout. There's probably going to be story decisions. There's probably going to be Walker moments. I mean, just the fact that they crashed a plane and somehow just got up and got out and fought all these walkers off, it kind of once again goes to the mindset of, yeah, walkers are not dangerous on this show. Even if they're set up to be dangerous, even if they have a moment where it's like, oh no, somebody could die from a walker, I'm not going to feel that because they've not shown these walkers to be dangerous in the slightest, outside of Jim last season, and he had never killed a walker before, so it's kind of on him. But with all that being said, that's about it for this first episode. Not a whole lot to talk about here, but I don't remember there being a whole lot to talk about early last season either, and that definitely changed by the end of it, not for the better. So we'll see where this goes, but on to the next episode. I'll see you there. And now, episode 2, The Hurt That Will Happen. I don't want to get my hopes up, but parts of this episode were pretty good. The stuff with the contamination, how much of it actually makes sense, how much of it is them playing loose with how radiation works. I don't know. It feels like they're kind of playing a little loose with the idea of radiation and radiation poisoning and contamination, all of that stuff. But I still like the idea. You know, it makes some walkers extra dangerous. You can't just kill them because then you risk getting contaminated by them. It's not a bad concept. I kind of like the addition of that. You've also got this mysterious group that's out there that probably took Al. They're the ones seemingly hanging the heads of these walkers around and stringing up all of their entrails as well. Kind of a mystery. I mean, it's not like a whodunit type of mystery, but it is mysterious, and we don't really know what the whole group's about. We don't know why they leave these walkers around. Is it a threatening message? Is it a warning? Like, what is it all about? And is it connected at all to what happened with this radiation contamination that's going on? Are the kids connected to it at all? Because we don't know what happened to them either. Putting Daniel back in the story, like, he's an interesting character, and seeing how he interacts with Victor, their scenes were probably the best scenes in the show for the past couple seasons. Like, just the back and forth between them. The one line from Daniel that absolutely killed me. Skidmark likes you. Well, he's got good taste. He licks his own asshole. Floored me. I'm just like, I want to use that from now on. Anytime a cat getting all close to somebody, just like, oh, the cat likes you. He's got good taste. Oh, well. So a lot of good stuff in this. There are some problems. I'll talk about those in a second. I do want to say, so far, this show has not shown a capability of taking interesting stories and interesting characters and doing anything good with it. So with all that being said, with all the good stuff in this story and the interesting stories, the mysterious and intriguing stories, I'm still not really invested because I don't have confidence in this writing team to get it over the line, to actually make a good story out of this. And even then, there still are moments where characters are doing stupid things when it comes to walkers that suddenly makes the scene more intense when it really shouldn't be. But to talk about some of the stupid stuff, first of all, Luciana is probably the biggest problem I have in this episode. And honestly, the acting from her has not been bad before, and this one was pretty poor. I think the joke is she's supposed to be sort of drugged up. She wasn't acting drugged up. And she was saying stuff and looking confused when she was saying it, talking about like playing the accordion. And then there's the one line when she's talking to, I think it was Morgan. This isn't drug stuff. The accordion stuff is drug stuff. And I'm sitting there thinking, I think that was supposed to be delivered as a joke. I think we're supposed to be laughing at that. But the way she delivered it, it wasn't funny. It felt like she said it normally. You know, if you're going to give her some comedic lines, she needs to deliver it comedically. And she didn't. And when she first talked about the accordion with June, that line as well, I think it was supposed to be delivered a little bit in a haze, like, when will I be able to play the accordion again? You play the accordion? No. I want to learn. Like, just something like that. She looked normal throughout that entire conversation. She was just talking like she normally does. So I just don't think she handled those scenes very well. I don't know if it was the actress or if it was the directing for her in those scenes, but they just weren't good. And then you get to the final scene with her, and again, stupid stuff with the walkers to put her in an intense situation. And all I could think is, she's not going to die from just a random group of walkers that are coming out of the woods. I don't know why she's just standing out there trying to shoot at them, even though she's clearly not all there and she's in pain. But sure, have her just stand there and get all nervous and start shaking the gun and missing and then run away all scared. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. Like, if the drugs are still affecting her, then you can make that argument. But I don't think they would still be at that point. I feel like they would have worn off, and I think she would have been able to look at it and go, I'm going to get back inside. I'm in no condition to fight right now. You also got the whole scene with Alicia whenever the walkers are showing up, and there's the one that has the little pin around his neck, so you can't kill that one because that one's got radiation poisoning. And instead of just giving, I can't remember her name now. If she shows up again, I'll try to remember it. But she won't give the girl her gun for some reason. I don't know why, but what it leads to is now she has to kill all these walkers, but not the one that's got the contamination thing. They have to turn it into this stupid little, oh, which one is it now? by having him all trip in mud, and then the little vial comes off his neck into the mud and then gets stepped on. And now it's just like, which one is it? Which one is it? And first of all, it's pretty obvious which one it is because it's the only one that's got like the extra little bumps. I don't know how to describe it, but it looks like a mutation growing out of its head. The rest of them just look like normal walkers. There's nothing weird about them. That's the only one that has something weird growing out of his head, so that's the one that's got the radiation on it. And yet they still played it like this big intense scene where she doesn't know which one to kill. It just feels like this whole thing could have been solved so easily. Just give the girl the gun, have her shoot the one, and then you and Morgan can take out the rest while she's dealing with that one and wrapping it up or whatever she has to do. I don't know why this suddenly became an intense scene. But the final stupid thing is what they decided to do with Daniel, because I was excited to have him back in the show. I was excited to see what they were going to do with him. And ultimately, they did with him exactly what the writers of The Walking Dead did with Morgan when Rick showed up. As much as I don't really remember the details of that part of the story because it's been so long since I've seen that season, this is basically what happened with Rick and Morgan in The Walking Dead, where Rick shows up, he's kind of holed himself up, he doesn't want to talk to Rick, he doesn't want to help with anything, and as far as I remember, this is kind of the same way it sort of played out, where I think Rick was able to kind of get through to him a little bit, but in the end, Morgan still didn't want to join him. He still didn't want to go with him. And I could be mistaken, I could be misremembering what happened with Morgan in The Walking Dead, but this story just felt like deja vu. But it's disappointing. You've got Daniel back in the show. Why not utilize him? Why make him this sort of, oh, I don't want to help anybody? I mean, we've seen this character and this storyline done before. On this show, on The Walking Dead, why do we have to end it with the same old, nope, he's not going to help because he doesn't help anybody, because you don't help anybody, because anytime you help, you make things work. Stop doing this story, please. What the Vulture's whole thing was. You can't settle down and live together because eventually it all falls apart. With Martha, don't help anybody because it makes him weak. Now with Daniel, don't help anybody because it always messes things up. It makes things worse. Why? So ultimately, there is more hope for this season than there was for last season, but I'm not getting my hopes up. I can't rely on this show to actually be good because it's shown multiple times that it cannot be good. I'm kind of just stuck in this mindset of not looking forward to it. Even with the good stuff, even with the stories that are getting me a bit more interested, I don't want to put too much hope into that. It's very much like Elementary in that sense, where if you've watched any of my reviews of Elementary, you'll know a lot of the seasons would introduce interesting characters or interesting stories, and it kind of got my hopes up of like, oh, where's this going to go? And then it wouldn't go anywhere. They would end the story off screen, basically. I don't expect them to end these stories off screen or anything, but I expect them to do something stupid with it that's going to piss me off. So hopefully they prove me wrong. It would be nice to say something positive about this show, because I don't think I have in a long time. We'll see. But those are my thoughts on these two episodes. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on these two? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Fear the Walking Dead reviews. Also check out the channel. We have a lot of other reviews on here, so check those out if you have time. But until next time, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to y'all later. Peace out.